Hey guys, welcome to the Detour podcast. We're going to be wrapping the Santos Festival of Cycling, and I'm joined as always by four-time national road champion Johnny Trevorrow and the man of the week, Luke.
How you
Turbo. How you travelling, mate?
Not too bad. Yeah, I'm pretty tired this morning. Had a big day yesterday on Wollonga Hill and had a pretty big week. So it's pretty hot out there, about 43 degrees outside still. So yeah, I've just got back from training actually, so look a bit filthy, but we're all good. Yeah, I got well.
How's the salt levels, mate, even on the training rides? Because after you ripped it a new one on that first stage, I mean, it was the classic Durbo, almost a fully white kit.
Yeah, well, you know me. It's I said to everyone before the start, I said, if I'm salting, don't say anything to me because it's just normal. Everyone come up to me in the bunch. Do you know you're really salty? You're like, oh my god. So yeah, I've actually surprised myself with how I've gone in the salt this week. So I don't know, maybe in the heat. I mean, not the salt. So yeah, no, it's been actually pretty good. I haven't been caked so much. I've got a little bit going on here though.
That's not too bad.
I was lucky enough, Dan, to be in the team car with Matty Wilson sitting in the passenger side. So I was cheering him on. It was an epic ride, away for 80 kilometres. But on the last, we get to the bell, and he's still 4 minutes up, and yeah, I'm feeling okay. And then he's having to dig in a little bit because it's a bloody big ride, and it's 40 degrees in the water bag, And then he started asking for some more salt. We sort of got one more salt tablet into him or whatever. And then that was the last 2K where you really had trouble. He was cramping. And I went up to say something, and I noticed he gave me the finger. And I thought he was sticking the finger at me, but he was getting cramp in the finger.
I was riding up the last time, sort of in this like Velociraptor sort of hands out the side here. And I sort of just put them back in, just put them back in. It's like, that's then back out again, just put it back in.
Well, how's the vibe been at Adelaide this year? Obviously, it's not the same as Tour Down Under, but is everyone just so appreciative that there is racing back on the calendar?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you think, Johnny, but it's been a good week. Like, obviously, we're down in crowds, obviously, because with travel restrictions and the risk of going to Adelaide and have to quarantine back to your home state and all that sort of stuff. So, but I said it's got some elements of a smaller race, but a lot of elements of the TDU, and still a great excitement around it. And I think it's awesome for like some of the NRS teams to be able to race in such a high profile race and like the top quality of the riding has been really high. I see some really special things for some up and coming juniors, and then obviously Richie does his thing on Wollonga, and there's some decent crowd out there yesterday. Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean I've been loving it like it's any other TDU, to be honest. But yeah, it still lacks some areas there where you don't have the internationals, but that's about it.
I think the general feeling's been, as you were saying, Dan, just excited to be able to race again. And it's been fantastic for the NRS teams to actually get a chance to ride at this level and show, how the NRS has improved over the last couple of years. Is definitely the gap between World Tour and NRS is still quite large, but it's definitely a bit small, diminished slightly what it used to be. And the crowds, even though they've been smaller, they've been loving it. And it's a testament to Stuart O'Grady that has been able to get this across the line. I mean, first gig as a race director with all those challenges. Most people would have just gone, this is too hard with the TDU, as big as it is. Why would we want to do this? But Stuart realised it needed to be done. And he's done a fantastic job to get all happening. And the racing's been great. And as you just said, Luke, some exciting people popping up. In the women's, Sarah Giganti has been just gigantic and amazing what she's going to be. She's already a star, but she's going to be a superstar. And young Luke Plapp, who's going to run second to you, unless he can take 2 minutes out of you in this crit.
No, I hope not.
He's going to run second, but he has been very impressive. His ride yesterday at Wollonga was brilliant, but the day before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. When the stage there, he is crossing the line there, and in Loberthal, that was very impressive because he was. Tell us the story on that.
It was pretty incredible. Like I mean, those sort of climbs don't necessarily suit me because it was sort of up between 13%. But as we hit about 150 meters to go, he's done this sort of Gilbert-esque out of the saddle,
Yeah.
just raw horsepower, and just no one could do anything about it. Everyone sort of looked at each other, and we were all on our limit, and then he went above that limit. And I think just having that track punch, young guy, he's just all his work is quite explosive on the track, and you can really see he's got that raw horsepower. But the lucky thing about Plapp is that he's 69 kilos. A lot of the trackies are holding at 80, 85 kilos, and Plapp seems to have that amount of punch at about a 69 kilo weight, which is so makes it probably looking quite exciting times for road prospects, considering how light he can be with how much punch he's got.
I hear rumours of teams talking to him already. So I hope we at BikeExchange are one of them. But let's hope. But no, and I thought on that stage too, Tim Rowe ran second, but he didn't realise that Luke was up the road. He did the old hands in the air, and
Well, speaking of the Wollonga stage, lads, let's have a look at the final. And I was really impressed with your post-race interview, Durbo.
Luke Plapp sitting behind Richie Port. Richie Port has won here 6 times.
I tell you who's going to win.
Richie Port. Across the top of the Strava points, Richie Port from 6 years in a row. Last year he won the race overall. Richie has risen, and the king reigns supreme on Wollonga. Port followed by Plapp. Phenomenal. And Luke Durbridge has done enough to defend his lead.
Should be a formality, so we could almost say Tour winner now, but what do you think?
Oh, I hope so. I hope so, but that's not over till, like I said, Fat Lady sings, and it's a bloody hard race to win, and I'm stoked to win it. I feel great, really honoured to have won it, but I'm very it's a leader at the moment, So
there was a bit of selective editing there, mate, but
Hey, mate, just let you know, I haven't won it.
Looking at that footage is what's classy from Platt is if you are looking to crack the world tour, the fact that he sat on Richie's wheel, he did the right team things. I mean, how much do teams look at the personality of a rider and, what sort of mindset they got? A little gesture like that shows that, he is sort of team focused.
Yeah, I mean, I think considering what Richie did for Plapp the day before, Richie rode the front the entire stage the day before, led him into the climb, set him up for pretty much his victory the day before. And, it's Richie's climb. Richie had ridden the whole climb in the front. Selfless work for Plapp most of the time anyway. And then Plapp went across and, I think it's, Richie said, I actually didn't think anyone was there. And then all of a sudden I looked back and Plapp was on my wheel. He said it was about a K to go. He went and left me. And I tried to go with him and I couldn't do anything about it. He just let me and then got across to Richie. And I was like, that's pretty impressive. In about 30 seconds he was there. So,
You only dropped 8 seconds. That's also pretty impressive, mate.
Yeah, well, it's the fastest about 3 minutes I've ever been up for Lungler, so I'm very happy with that.
But you did say in the interview that I selectively edited to get to the punchline of that joke. But you said how even though it's not World Tour, I mean the racing still is pretty full on.
Yeah, there's no easy races anymore. Like I said, I was talking to Richie about it. Like a race is a race and a win's a win. Like there's no easy races. And not saying there was any easy races, but there's no like prep races or anything like that. The stress levels are just as high at races like this. Everyone's just going for it. Young guys, there's no real hierarchy in the peloton anymore. Young guys are just, I don't care who you are. I'm going to take you. I'm going to go the line. I'm going to beat you to the line. I don't care if you're Peter Sagan or Walt Van Aert or Richie Port or whatever. Just I want to be in that corner, I'm going to take you and beat you in that corner. And that's the difference in the peloton, probably what I've seen about from 2012 till now. If you don't,
changed a lot last year. Yeah, a big change.
Just everyone's like, there's no real respect, and I think the biggest thing is that you just got to get over that. As soon as you put the number on, everyone's even, and it's a dog eat dog, and it's war out there, and you get it done. And I think that's the biggest thing with guys. When they get a bit older, like there's no respect and there's no this, there's no that. That's true, but yeah, it's just the way it is now. Young guys don't care.
Do you think the direct link to these young Aussie superstars are giving the NRS a lot of confidence? Like, guys like Jai Hindley and the likes, they go, well, if he can do it, why can't I?
I mean, I think we've had a bit of a shift in terms of Aussies Well, we obviously had Richie always as a bloody good climber and Cadell, but there's been sort of this like more of a classic sprint focus from Australia, I would say. And now we've got this huge shift of climbers, like proper group of climbers. You know, Richie's obviously always been up there, but you've got your Jais, your Jack Haig, your Lucas Hamilton, your Chris Hamilton, Nick Schultz. Like it keeps going down. There's probably 10 proper Pacific climbers that are coming out of Australia, and you know now Plapp as well. So it's sort of a different shift, isn't it? Like we would sort of have Cadell and Richie, and there's a few good climbers, but majority was sort of your classics base with Stewie and Robbie and Baden and all those guys. But so it's quite exciting for Australian cycling, I reckon.
Well, there must be a big buzz for a lot of these guys that wouldn't normally get this level of exposure, but they're getting it now through a race like this. And obviously, guys like Plapp have grabbed it with two hands.
Yep, 100%. It's really, really great. I know a lot of local guys from Perth, they're coming over and they're racing, and they're just, you know, they're stoked just to be here, just to be racing amongst this high-profile race. And it shows the world and showcases the world the level of the NRS, you know. So it might encourage, hopefully, sponsors and things like that, which is always great.
We've got a couple of fan questions coming in. Of course, Wendy Superfan. Hi, guys. Great to see Luke in the lead. Good luck today, Luke. Ian Thomas says, great to see you score an excellent win, Durbo. Well done on Wollonga too. Gavin says, made the call not to go over from Victoria due to the risk of not being able to get back. Disappointed I didn't take the chance because the racing has been incredible. Samantha says, Luke Plapp looked like he could have taken Richie on Wollonga. Amazing considering he's never climbed it at all. Was stiffingly hot up there. And the last question is from...
Stifling, mate.
Stifling. What did I say? Stiffingly. It's always a risk when you read these questions out when you weren't that good at
reading their Twitter name is always difficult too.
Stiffingly. All right.
How's the Mew bike?
Yeah, well, that is a mistake. How's the Mew bike Durbo? How is the Bianchi's going, Derbs?
It's good, yeah. It's obviously, but for me, it's treating me pretty well. No, it's good. I mean, I've only ridden two bikes in my career, really. I've ridden Bianchi when I was under 23, and I rode Scott for 10 years, and then now I'm back on Bianchi. So, sort of like back to...
we were just admiring, as we were, because Durbo was out his ride, and I met him down the bottom, come up to my room, we'll do this podcast. And I've got to go past, drop my helmet off, and then the mechanic said, oh, I've got your new TT bike. So out was the TT bike getting delivered. So you're obviously really setting yourself to defend your time trial title, which is only a week and a bit away.
Yeah, I think it's been great prep this week. I'm really looking forward to the national titles. It's going to be sort of a smaller field than we have had in the past, but yeah, like nationals is a really big thing for me, and I think the way I'm traveling, I'm feeling pretty well. So yeah, I'm trying to defend my title in the TT, and I wouldn't mind having a go on the road race too. So we'll see how we go.
Well, the form you've got at the moment, the road race TT double would definitely be a chance. What about the quick? Can you make a trifecta?
I think we're going to try and go for Caden in that one. Yeah.
Well, just on that, Durbo, you're always flying in January. How much did your off-season prep get affected? Because, you obviously had to come over from Europe. You did the quarantine. How did that shuffle things around?
I think more or less I've always sort of put it down to if you got a happy mind and happy life's pretty good, then your form seems to, correlate with that, so that's why I always tend to try and come home to see my family. I'm quite family sort of orientated guy. And I just after such a hard year, just wanted to come home and be with my family and be with my friends. And, I got really great family and friends over in Toronto as well. But, I think everyone just needed that refresh to get out. And I was lucky enough in WA, there was just pretty much normal life. So I'd take 2 weeks quarantine any day of the week just to be out in some normality. And then when I come out, it's summer. It's super easy for me. I've got a lot of great guys to ride with. Some of my best mates ride with me every day. Coffee shop, ride. Just that's pretty much what it is. Ride, beach, pub. Ride, beach, pub.
Well,
no ride, but everything else.
A lot of the tennis players are complaining, obviously, about their quarantine at the moment. How did you find that 2 weeks? Was it as bad as what they're saying in the media?
Look, it's not easy. There was some pretty terrible meals, and in Perth you're not allowed to even crack the window. So some of the guys have got terraces, and they're still complaining. You're like, you can't really complain. You're not allowed to leave and open the window in Perth. So that it was solid. And look, I was just sort of halfway through thinking, I hope this is worth it. But it's sort of a distant memory now. I've had 2 months out of normality and no masks and going to bars and restaurants and hanging out with groups of 15 or whatever, 2 weddings, all that sort of stuff. And I was like, I've forgotten all about quarantine. So I just I try and make light of a hard situation, just keep busy. Kept very busy in there. Like I ran 5K sometimes in the room, just back and forth. Yeah.
The day you let out, it must have been like that scene out of Shawshank, just with the arms in the air, rain pouring down. Like that's very huge. But
it was pretty special. I got picked up by the father-in-law, and he was the lucky man to pick me up first. And he come out and he gave me this big bear hug. He's not really of a hugging sort of man. Yeah. Gave me a big bear hug, and then he just, as I got in the car, he's just fresh, cold beer from ships up there, and he's like, "Yeah, this is for you." And then we arrived at the house, and he had all the food ready, and we had a big party at my house, and everyone came, and it was just, it was special, man. I was speechless. Yeah.
On the flip side, how are the guys going back in Europe? Because obviously things are kicking off, and breaking news overnight was Tom Dumoulin, who's left the training camp, and he's really sort of questioning if he does want to get back on the bike. Are you finding that, particularly on the back of last year, we've talked about a lot on this show, the guys are sort of struggling and at times may even question, like, is this all sort of worth it, given how tight the restrictions have been for everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right, Jonesy. Like a lot of guys are considering, how should we go back? Can we go back? Is it going to be racing? Guys over there have been in it. And I always find, like, I'm not sure. I've been speaking to a few guys there, and they're sort of saying that it's actually okay. It's kind of like when you're in it, it's sort of a normality. You can sort of do – our bubble's quite small anyway where we live. We got a small group of friends, small amount of things that we would do. I mean, it's very difficult. Obviously, you want to go out to dinner and go to restaurants and things like that, but you're just getting used to the new normality. When I left, it was sort of like, oh yeah, semi-lockdown again. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll adapt. Considering the 3 months that we went through when it was so hardcore, I don't think you can't really break us anymore after doing that. And I don't think they will go back to being so. They won't lock us inside for 3 months again. They'll let us do exercise and things like that. So, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, it's hard for everyone, and I think you can't judge anyone for feeling completely broken and down by it, or people are doing really, really well and surviving. So it's a hard one, Josie. Everyone's in a bit of a fragile mind state, and the problem is that everyone's got about an emotional fuse about this big. So they sort of, especially over there, they're just trying to get themselves through. So everyone's not necessarily as looking after it as each other as much, because it's just I'm just trying to get my own stuff sorted. So
do you find that being an Aussie, we love giving each other stick, but with the guys, particularly in Europe, you've got to sort of be careful about winding them up a bit, because they are a bit more fragile, and those jokes that used to bounce off might sort of stick.
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone's, like I said, everyone's fuse is pretty short. So I think the team's been really good to try and just support everyone and try and, like whatever people need, if they need to stay at home or train more at home or get away to a training camp, or I don't know, like we've got a pretty open book in terms of communication with the team. So you can always pick up the phone and call Whitey and say, I need to do this, or can I do that? Or like, because I just really want to just get everyone in the right mindset. Obviously, physically is a big part of our sport to be, physically ready. But if you're not mentally ready to perform, then you're useless as a really tits on a pole.
Yeah. So what's the plan then? Obviously, you want to do nationals, but with everything that's happening in Europe, and obviously, things are looking pretty good in Australia, is there going to be less sort of urge to rush back to Europe until you know that the schedule is definitely on the cards? Because there's obviously a lot of races that are getting cancelled at the moment. I mean, you'd love to probably stay in Australia a bit longer.
Yeah, I would love to, for sure. I think that's not going to be necessarily possible, because the races that I'm going back for are the Belgium Classics. And Belgium's actually looking quite good. They just held the World Championships for cyclocross. They've had the cyclocross season without fans. So their bubble set up for races have actually been running quite smoothly.
So what's your first race?
My first race is opening weekend in the end of February. Okay. So my plan at this moment would be to fly pretty much directly from Nationals back to Europe for a training camp and then straight into the classics. So I guess I could I'm sort of holding off in terms of waiting to see if opening weekend goes ahead. And yeah, you kind of got to be able to just be adaptive. Hey, you just got to get over there and just wait, because in any moment you could actually have they call you up and the race is on or the race is off, the race is on, the race is off.
From what I hear, I was talking to Darryl last night over in Italy, and he just come back from the training camp in Spain, and he said, look, there was another French race cancelled yesterday, and nearly every day there's a small race being cancelled. But the bigger races, they're too important to the countries and to the federations, and they're prepared to do them without crowds. So there's no talk about any like the Grand Tours, the Classics, and all of those not happening. No. So everyone's very confident that the season will go ahead virtually on time and as planned, but it'll just be a bit more like the Vuelta last year. Hardly any crowds, very well, but done for television. Really.
That makes it tricky because you have you just have to plan in terms of, because now you've got 30 riders who used to use some of those smaller races, I guess, to prepare for certain races or here or there. So I think the usual 60, 70, even 80 race days per year for a rider is not going to be the reality in COVID times. Yeah. And we're going to just get used to racing between 30 to 40 race days for the year because, like Johnny said, only the big ones are going to go ahead.
Yeah. I suppose being a road rider, you know that if there are races, cut from the calendar, there's still going to be a lot that will go ahead. But how are the guys holding up that are on the track program that, all their emphasis for 4 years has been thinking about the Olympics? You get all this media saying, it's not going to go ahead. I mean, geez, that must be tough to balance up when your whole focus for so long has been that one event.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooming with Cameron Meyer at the moment, and just sort of like, let's not discuss the elephant in the room really at the moment, because what you go around with speculation, and you go round and round in a circle. It's like, what does this mean? What does that mean? What does this mean? And that's what the whole year really was, and we don't want any more of that. Like, should we be? Are we going to race? Are we going to race? So you just got to carry on, business as usual,
And the rumour mill, like 2 days ago, there was strong, media reports that the Olympics were off, and the age actually went as far as saying, no, it's going to be cancelled today. It was real. And I was talking to the girls, the BikeExchange girls. Oh well, Olympics is off. And they said, we heard. No, it's off. It says that. So I made the big statement, and then about 2 hours later, Coates comes out and says, that is a load of bull dust. It is on. So I had to go and apologise to the girls.
It's not like you to run with fake news, John.
Yeah. I know. Normally it's iffy facts.
Gossip queen over here.
Back to the women's race. I want to show the ride from Sarah Gigante up Wollonga. She absolutely smashed it. She's got the Strava record taken from Carly Taylor. And she spoke really well in her post-race interview as well.
She will win on top of Wollonga Hill. She is the new queen of Wollonga. She takes the left-hander to the finish.
Super Sarah, for the second day in a row, stamps her authority on the Santos Festival of Cycling.
Here's my mum. Yeah, I think she deserves to be on TV because she's a super mum. Thanks, Mum.
So it's unbelievable. So you've got obviously the leader's jersey, the criterium tomorrow at Victoria Park. So it's got to be all yours, yeah?
Well, I mean, we won't count our chickens before they hatch, but I'm definitely, pretty honoured to be wearing this really cool jersey. I used to come here actually for the Santos Junior Tour back in, I was under 15, so I must have been 11 years old, so maybe 2012. I always came over again with my mum. We used to make the road trip, come down to the Barossa Valley and do the junior tour alongside this. So it's pretty crazy that I'm back here and leading the tour. And tomorrow we have such a strong squad. Like if I was the other teams, I'd be pretty nervous with all our chucky hitters.
Did you get any messages from your teammates from the US?
Oh, not today, but I'm sure they're watching. So, hi everyone at Team Tivco Silicon Valley Bank. Thanks for staying up till 2 a.m, Tanya. If you did stay up, hopefully our race was nice and exciting and kept you awake.
But this is a huge moment in Australian cycling. The Queen of Wollonga Hill, unbelievable.
Yeah, pretty cool. I'll have to check my time against Richie's once I upload to Strava.
Yeah, great interview there. She's a real character. What can you tell us about Sarah?
Oh, look, she is a gorgeous young lady. She's quite amazing, actually. Go back a couple of years when she was doing her, SATs at school, and she did 99.7, I think. She got top mark you could get. But in that year, she'd also had a really bad accident on her bike and broke both her arms. And she couldn't even, so her mum had to do her typing for her to do her exams. She set herself up the home trainer and then ended up going to the junior worlds. And I think she medalled in one of the track junior worlds after having all those months out with broken arms. And then came and won the elite women's road race the following season in Ballarat. And that was an enormous strike because the whole Green Edge team were there and they couldn't do anything about it. And this is a quality ride that in the last 2 days up Wollonga and the day before, Team BikeExchange, Lucy Kennedy is one of the world's best climbers, and Lucy couldn't do anything about it up Wollonga yesterday, unless she finished, I think, a minute down on her. So, she's got a huge future, and I'd like to think Team BikeExchange can snaffle her for next year. We'll see.
And it's great to see the women racing on the same day. I mean, they've often talked about that, but the logistics sometimes doesn't allow it. But, having them race Wollonga is obviously a good thing for the spectators as well,
Yeah, it's a real challenge because the problem you've got, we try to do it with the Sun Tour in the past as well. The problem you have, though, you've only got X amount of police with motorbikes and all that, and they can only do so much per day. So they got away. Stewie was able to do it this year by keeping all the races shorter. So the men's stages were much shorter than they normally would be, and the women's stages much shorter. That allowed all of the officials that needed to be able to do it to be able to do both events, especially with the police. But in a normal TDU, it's going to be a challenge to do that. But I know that Stu would like to keep that part going. It was sensational, really.
Well, it's been a sensational week. Before we go, we should plug the sponsors, mate. You haven't got your script, have you?
No, I haven't, but I've got it just over there. I'm going to go and grab it.
Durbo,
pardon?
I was going to say, we'll let you go, Durbo, because you've got a race to worry about. Appreciate you being on the detour, mate, and look forward to a big national championships in a week's time. See if you can go the double, mate.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on, and I appreciate it. And we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a year underway, and we'll get some more racing and hopefully some more victories.
He's just got to keep that 2-minute lead to win today, because I'm instructed to take the whole team out, men's and women's team, out to a really great restaurant for dinner tonight, as long as Durbo wins. So,
keep the lead, keep up the salt tablets, mate, and you'll.
Thanks, Josie.
All right, we're going to cross now to a quick word. We'll cross now to a quick word from our great mates at BikeExchange.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match, but not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. BikeExchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Thanks again to our great mates at BikeExchange. Johnny, you want to give us a plug for our friends at, who are you going to start off with? Mitchelton, or are you going to go with Let's Go? Or
You like, mate? You're the director of this show. You're the one.
All right. Well, so why don't you start with Let's Go motorhomes, not caravans, motorhomes.
Yes, there's quite a few of them over here at the moment. The Tour Down Under, actually. Andrew's the manager in there. Give him a call, and we drove past on the ring road just a couple of days ago, and normally they've got a big car park full of Let's Go motorhomes, and then in the busy time of the season, it's empty, and it's pretty close to empty now. They're really rushing out the door with the way the pandemic is. People aren't travelling overseas, so they're grabbing their Let's Go motorhomes and they're touring our great nation.
Well, another product that people are snaffling up in this pandemic is Jayco Caravans. And if you get onto their website, jayco.com.au, you can find your perfect van. They make it pretty easy now. It's user-friendly. Anything else you want to add about your great mates at Jayco, Johnny?
Well, without them, the sport wouldn't be what it is. So if you're after a caravan and you're into cycling, we should definitely go for Jayco. And even if you're not into cycling, where else would you go? There was a great story in the paper here in Adelaide yesterday, and I guess it was in the Melbourne papers as well, just about the success of Jayco. It's one of the few companies that really have flourished in this crazy pandemic times, with people who are saying, okay, we're not going overseas, we're buying a caravan. So I think something like 10,000 back orders at the moment, up production to be able to catch up. Yeah.
Another product that we've been really hitting in the pandemic is wine, and what better drop than Mitchelton?
Well, I got to tell you, I am in Adelaide at the moment, so I've been to McLaren Vale yesterday, Barossa the day before, and had a lot of great wines. But there's still nothing here better than a great Mitchelton Shiraz, which their Heathcote Shiraz, which I love. But one of Australia's favourite wineries and a place of escape. Experience the history, the beauty, and the serenity of the Golden Valley at your own pace. Looking over the vineyards from the iconic tower, staying at the new hotel, relaxing by the pool, recharging in the day spa, where you can quiet the mind and unwind the body, rediscover your balance in a setting of peace and harmony. Sounds great, doesn't it? Explore the seasonal menu at the Muse, where local produce offers worlds of flavour. Sample their seasonal menu with all wines perfectly paired. Stop by the Providor and tour the cellars, and of course, taste their highly awarded signature wines. Mitchell has become a very, very popular venue now for weddings and major occasions. So it's a fantastic setup there. And there's a happy couple about to, I think they're giving a bit of distance. They're going to have a run at each other in a second, I think. And of course, downstairs visit the amazing Aboriginal Art Gallery. It's actually the largest private Aboriginal Art Gallery in Australia, and it is world class. Huge range, and of course there it is, the $10,000 Land Cruiser with the, we can't even put a price on it now.
It's priceless.
Past all valuations. It's because it's like a Monet.
Well, I was just thinking, if it's the largest Aboriginal gallery in Australia, wouldn't that be in the world, or is there a bigger one somewhere overseas?
Well, you're dead right. It would be in the world.
Yeah.
Well done.
You might want to fact check that one, Johnny.
I will. You never let the facts get in the way of a good story anyway, do we, Dan?
Yeah. So before we wrap things up, mate, what's been the highlight for you getting over there and seeing it on the ground in Adelaide?
Just that, mate. Just being able to get to a bike race again. It's been fantastic to watch some seriously good racing. The women have been fantastic. First day, great sprint. See Peter Mullins take it out. She's been in the mountain bikes for a while back, an ex-Gippsland girl. Better go now, but she's back. Our sprinters are very, very good girls, and I think she ran second or third the second day as well. So, and to watch Sarah Giganti just on her rise, this would have opened a lot of people's eyes. I know that she's got an amazing future ahead of her, and to watch the young guys in the guys when we're talking about Luke Plapp and guys like that, but fantastic racing, bloody hot. It's been 40 degrees every day. And doesn't seem to affect the way these blokes have been racing. Been fantastic, and I'm looking forward to a really fast crit this evening to wrap it all up, and getting back to sunny Victoria next week.
And as you said, Stewie O'Grady and his team really need a big congratulations to pull this event off, because, as you said, like a lot of times people would have just said, you know what, it's just not going to happen, and it wouldn't have gone ahead. But to have racing and the racing's been fantastic. To have that go ahead has been huge.
Yes, and I'm very much looking forward to the Nationals. Of course, the Bay Chris should have been coming up next weekend, and we had to cancel those, unfortunately. But the following week, on the 3rd of Feb, Wednesday, I think, is the start of the time trials at Buninyong. So I'll definitely get down there to watch them go. I don't think anyone will get near Luke in the men's race. But the road races around Buninyong are great. And now that the numbers are being allowed to increase, there will be able to be a crowd at Buninyong. I think you have to book to get up on the mountain. I know I'm just booking for 20 mates to get the barbecue going up on the hill, and I think you can do that now. There's a site you can jump onto. If you look at Cycling Australia's website, you can see how you can jump on it and book your spot up on the hill at Willunga on Sunday week. Should be great.
Well, I'll definitely be on the ground as well, so we should be able to get some good interviews, good content, and we'll be doing podcasts live.
As well. I was just going there for the drink beer and barrack. I've got to work as well.
What's the difference? What you're doing in Adelaide at the moment, mate? We've still got a potty out. So thanks again for all the support from everyone online. Another comment, Andy Matthews agreed. Great to see some race again. Thanks, guys, for another great episode. Good on you, Andy. And as we always say, if you want to stay in touch with whenever we go live, you go to youtube.com/the Detour podcast, turn on notifications, subscribe, tell your mates. And we're also on iTunes, Spotify, all the audio platforms. And we'll see you again soon, leading up to the National Championships. And we're still working on a very big guest from Belgium. So stay tuned. We're confident. And it's just... is it next week or the week after? It will be soon. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you again soon on another episode of The Detour.